The great Don Fischer with us now, the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers. Don, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, but it's Tuesday. You know that, right?
Boy, this week I'm going to be screwed up all week now since you told me that. Man, I'm going to be off every day. I'm done. But yeah, happy Tuesday, everybody. Thanks a lot, Don. We had some people had the holiday yesterday, but some of us didn't. But Indiana football did not. They continued to roll forward. We were out there as the press conferences on Monday, as always, as the Hoosiers coming off of a very surprising loss to me, Don. Not that they lost. I mean, you go out to a place like Iowa, very tough environment, a very well-coached team, always good, consistently good. But it was how they lost this game, I think, that is really left people shaking their heads a little bit. I was just surprised that the offense just didn't have any fire, and the defense was just off a step. They didn't play bad, but were just off a step.
Well, there's no question that the offense was the difference in this ball game. Michael Penix struggled mightily. Last year, we saw him struggle in the first 50 minutes of the game against Penn State, but Indiana was close enough to make a game of it when he found himself and became the player that we know he can be. And it literally did a dominant performance in the last 20 minutes that he played in that contest. Had we seen that out of him in this ball game, it still wouldn't have made a difference because Indiana was too far behind at that point. But Michael's 3 interceptions, the offensive line didn't block very well for the run game once again. Part of that was due to the absence of Luke Haggard, who was missing because of an ankle injury. Then they had to move people around. They've got guys in different positions playing, roles that they've had in the past, but hadn't practiced as much. So there's no question that this team was off offensively. They struggled mightily. The defense gave up a big play at the very outset of this ball game. Iowa's first possession, they scored a 55-yard run, I think the second or third play of the game. And then Michael Penix throws a pick 6 to start their second possession their first possession of the game. So when you look at what happened, the start killed this football team. There's no doubt about it. It put the offense back on its heels. The defense responded after that, I think, actually played very well most of the rest of this contest. You give up just 303 yards in a ball game these days, you've done a great defensive job because offenses are all set up to at least move the football and score points. In this contest, Indiana didn't do that, and obviously Iowa did just enough to get it done.
Yeah, and fortunately, Indiana gets a chance. They come back home and hopefully can get that ship righted this week. An Idaho team comes in, and hopefully they can work on things because the week after that, what you don't want to look forward, is a Cincinnati game that definitely will be a terrific challenge in Bloomington. But the first home game this weekend, so that's nice for the fans. It's a night game. How long has it been since you've done an Indiana night game?
Well, the oddity is that we've had night games several years in a row up until last year. We didn't have any last year because of COVID, and TV schedules have now gotten to the point where they're going to have night games, and we've had that for several years now. So it's not like it's been forever. I can't remember the last night game we had, but it was probably 2 years ago, I would say. And if not then maybe 3 years ago. But all that said, what time you play matters little to these kids these days. I mean, if it was a coach and if it's an old broadcaster like me, I'd much rather play at noon on Saturdays or 1 o'clock at the latest. But now, of course, you play just about any particular time. It just depends on what TV decides to do with your schedule. So, but here's the truth of the matter. The biggest problem with that loss against Iowa was the fan base. And the fan base, as you know, and I know, and if you've been around Indiana football for any length of time, expectations get built up and then they get let down in a hurry with a performance like Indiana had last week. And it's like, here we go again. And it's the same old Indiana. Those are the thinking processes that go on in fans' minds. And in truth, you can understand it. I mean, it's been going on for a long time with Indiana football. It's been like that for many, many, many years. We've had 3 winning seasons now since 1994. Think about it. It tells you all you need to know about this program and why fans doubt that you're where you think you are. And honestly, I think this team is 10 times better than what we saw on Saturday, but unfortunately, they didn't prove it. And the expectations of the fan base are back where they usually are, not expecting much.
Yeah, I saw a lot of, you see a lot of that on social media, and I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, I do feel sorry for the team because exactly what you said. They are so much better. Ryder Anderson, a player who is a transfer, but he has got, you can tell he has the ultimate confidence that is a good football team. Right. He knows good footballs. He came from the SEC, and he is talking about how they've just got to get some things cleaned up on the defensive side, especially, and that they were a really good team. We already know they're a good team. They've got a lot of great players. They had 7 returning starters. They've just got to get some things cleaned up. Charlie, you know about that. When you have new faces, they just got to get everybody on the same page. You've got a new defensive coordinator. I'm sure there were just some slight communication issues, maybe still, but they've got to get that together, and I think that they will. After seeing what you need to fix, it's a lot easier to fix it.
Well, I would definitely say having a good week of probably understanding. Now that preseason jitters or whatever you want to call them might be over. You got battle tested and slapped in the face pretty hard. So now you have some substance, I believe, to go into this week, right? Because you can't win with turnovers. I mean, I don't, 3 turnovers, 20 points. I mean, you're gonna have to score for every turnover that you do, and you can't combat that. So who knows what that was all about? But I can imagine the fan weather friends down. I get that. It's a part of that process. Those kids are going to get used to it and get ready for this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you hate it for the players because these guys all know that they're better than what they performed like on Saturday. But the fan base doesn't know that. The fan base thinks, well, we're just back to where we once were. And that's a sad part of what Indiana has dealt with for all these years from a football perspective. It tells you the thinking process that happens when things don't go the way they're expected to go. And honestly, at this juncture, I can't blame our fan base. I've been doing this for 49 years. Right. I've seen this happen a million times, and I don't like it. And I hate to make excuses for the team, but at the same time, I understand their scenario too. So I'm around both sides of the package here, and I get it from both perspectives. But just from a historical perspective, Indiana football has been doing this to our fan base for a long time, and you can understand why they feel
exactly. I mean, and I think that person just asked the question, was Iowa a better team? I would say yes. I mean, the better team ended up having a few mistakes, right? Ended up playing better. You're at home, a home opener, sold out crowd. All those factors play a role. And I think that was a good test for us. And you can only hope that it's going to get better from that game. That the first game's out of the way. Does it mean a lot? Who knows? But now they can prove themselves week to week. And hopefully that fan base will get better with support.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Don, I think that one of the things is you start off on the road in a Big Ten conference game. That's not exactly an easy test to manage. But Michael Penix is first game he's played in 2 years in front of a crowd. First game he's coming off of that injury. He had so much going through his head. Hopefully getting that one game out of the way, because I had friends that were telling me that how loud it was down there on the field. And I can imagine 70,000 fervent Iowa fans. It's going to be extraordinarily loud. We haven't had that in 2 years. He hasn't seen that in 2 years. That's a lot to come back from at the same time.
Well, and I understand that completely, but Michael's not a first-time guy. He was there when they did have crowds. So I'm going to throw all that stuff out. I'm just going to simply say Mike had a bad ball game, and he's coming off another knee injury. That had to be in the back of his mind as well, as you pointed out. There's no question there were things that he was dealing with that the normal athlete who's getting ready for a football season hasn't had to deal with. But the key here is he's got to bounce back, and he's got to do it in a hurry. If he doesn't, then Tom Allen has got a decision to make, because he's got a guy in the wings, and Jack Tuttle, who's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. And he's done it. And last year when he was called upon, he did a terrific job. Now, of course, he came into this ball game with 9 minutes left and the game out of hand. There wasn't much they could do. And, of course, the offensive line wasn't blocking anybody at that point. So nothing happened when Jack was in there. But Jack Tuttle's a capable replacement. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, you don't want to pull Michael Penix out of there at this juncture, but Mike's got to play better than he did on Saturday. And hopefully it starts with this Idaho game on this weekend, because Idaho won 68-0 over Simon Fraser. I thought it was an author when I heard that they played Simon Fraser. But nevertheless, they played a team out of Canada that really is like a Division II team. So to beat them 68-0 was probably no great shakes in Idaho's perspective. But this is an Idaho team. It's coming from the Big Sky Conference. It's not a Power 5 school. This is a team that you should take care of business against very quickly. And hopefully that happens on Saturday. And we get past this whole first week debacle and get ready for a Cincinnati team. And I don't want to talk about Cincinnati now because they're down the road, but that's a top 10 team you're going to face the following week. And you can't even think about that one before you get this one taken care of.
Yeah, and Idaho's coached by a Petrino. So if you follow football, folks, you know that Petrino name has been around a long time, and they like to score points. His brother Bobby, of course, at Louisville and other places. But his brother's been out at Idaho for quite a while, I believe. I think he's been there for a long time.
Yeah, 2013 or 14 is when he got there. So yeah, this is a guy that's got a record, that he's got a very good football coach. He's got a background. And he's with a program in the Big Sky Conference. They play good football out there. It's not superstar status. It's much like the MAC. So you're going to have to deal with a team that's probably going to be pretty well coached. They used 3 quarterbacks last week. A freshman, I guess, looked the best of the 3, but they've got 3 different kinds of quarterbacks, and they must have used like 70-some players, from what I was told, in a 68-0 trouncing of Simon Fraser out of Canada.
Well, they certainly got their reps in ready for this week. So what are you expecting to see, Don? What do you think the crowd? I'm wondering about. This is a night game. It's a great opportunity. People get to tailgate all day. You don't have to rush out there. You can get to the stadium, a game under the lights, which is kind of cool for Indiana fans. I'm wondering, the Cincinnati game, from what I understand, is already sold out. I wonder how that's going to affect the attendance on this game.
Well, that's the question. Will the fans still show up? Because I know that they were close to 40, maybe 45,000 fans that were expected to show up for this game. The student body section is sold out. They sold every ticket for the students this year. So will all those kids show up? Because I have a grandson down there who's a sophomore, and he calls me up and he says, "Grandpa, what happened?" I said, so I gave him my spiel, of course, and I said, "So what's it sound like from the student body?" And he says, "Well, it kind of sounds like what you talked about before. It's the same old Indiana." I said, "Well, let's hope that's not the case." And I said, "I don't think it is. So tell all your friends to still show up for the football game." Absolutely.
Wednesday night, don't forget, you got the coaches show again in week 2. Starts at 7, I believe.
Yep, 7:05 is our airtime on Wednesday night with the coach at our new location, Southern Stone. Obviously, any fans that want to show up for that, great. They've got a great venue there, terrific restaurant, really good food. Had their the double stacked cheeseburger or whatever that thing was last week, and it was really good, really good. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try everything on the menu at some point this year.
I had the sriracha shrimp, and I ate every one of the shrimp. It was really good. That was just an appetizer. Yeah, it's an amazing place. It's at Patterson and Rogers, by the way. It's kind of a nice little location, plenty of parking. So a great place to go out and watch the coach. It's a great setup. It's nice seating. It's just a little bit more open. Just a pool. Of course, next year they're moving over to Hanks, but right now this is Southern Stone, a great location, and some great food. Get out there and watch Don and the coach. That's Wednesday night at 7. Don, I know you got to run. I can't thank you enough, man.
Good to be with you guys, Charlie. Did you just sleep in this morning? What?
What's that?
Did you just sleep in this morning? Because
No.
you got here a little late.
Hey, man, I like that, Don. I got some push-ups I got to do. I got some push-ups I got to do. It is what it is, man. Hey,
everybody's always tweeting in that Charlie looks like he's 20 years old. And I'm like, I know he does. Quit reminding me.
Well, yeah, Charlie is drinking from the same water that I drink from. So I like it.
I was going to say that because you're the next person that everybody says that about.
I tell you,
absolutely.
I got a question for Don. I have a quick question for Don.
Shoot.
How do you prepare your questions for Coach Allen after a game like this? Like, what goes into your process?
To be honest with you, I don't think about it. Okay. I do it when I get there. I know what I'm doing. I mean, you always have a feel for what you're going to ask because let's face facts here. That was not pretty.
Exactly.
And I have never gone in and wrote down a bunch of questions to ask a coach because I want to get the mood. Yeah. I want to see how he's reacting to things. Without Coach Allen, he's pretty easy. He's not. You can get him started, and he'll go for as long as you want him to go. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I really don't worry about that. I've never, in all my years of broadcasting, I think maybe 3 times in my life I've written down questions to ask a coach.
Okay.
Most of the time I just do it by feel or what's going on or how the team played or that kind of thing. So from a preparation standpoint for interviews, I may be the worst interviewer in the world because I do no preparation.
No, man, that's good stuff. No, I mean, listen, you turn skill to feel, and that's exactly when you are a veteran. So salute. I love it. And I think you said it best. You keep it open-ended, and I know he can go. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's not a veteran. He is the leader in the clubhouse, Charlie.
There may be some guys. There may be some guys you interviewed that you may have wished you wrote questions down for.
Understood.
And Coach Knight was one of those. But
Freddie McSwain.
Let me just tell you something. If I ever went in with a sheet of paper with a bunch of questions written down on it, Knight would have grabbed it and
probably balled it up. I
balled it up and thrown it in the thing. So trust me, that man taught me a lot very early on in my career about how to handle things.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
How to move on the run, I'm sure is. Well, Don, I know you got to run. We'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday and enjoy the week. And what else you got coming up this week? Anything else?
I got nothing else. Just I do 2 things these days. I do talk shows and play-by-play. Other than that, and of course you have to prepare for that. That's all. It's work related, and just like anybody else in your job, if you want to do it well, you've got to prepare. So there's a lot of reading and a lot of website going to and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of work to do, but it's not like real work, if you know what I mean. If you really like it, it's not work at all.
Exactly.
Let's see. Bruce says Don may remember him. He is the old bus driver that from the old late Bob Knight days and the Tom Green days.
I do remember Bruce. Absolutely.
Well, Bruce, there you go. Don says hello there. So thanks a lot, Bruce. Great to have you aboard. But it's amazing. That still amazes me how deep and far back the tentacles are still out there from so far ago. With these people, with everyone that's still involved, and it's awesome to see that.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. It's very cool, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
Don's got to.
See you guys.
Don, we'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.